What's up, Chicago? How we doing tonight? I'm Dustin Jones coming at you for Chicago Sports Podcast, the voice of the Chicago sports fan. I'm joined by Darius Lockhart and Brandon Duplessis, and I'm also just now realizing that I forgot to play the intro.
I was just gonna say,
I blanked on that. My apologies, guys. But we can intro here with us. We're here to talk Chicago sports. We got Kiran Amagaji returning to practice today. I got Brandon Duplessis. How you doing tonight, man? Introduce yourself. Say what's up.
good man. I'm feeling good. How about you, Dustin?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for being here as always, Darius. Beard is looking exquisite, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks, man. I work hard on it, man.
Yeah, I could tell. I could tell. Thank you for bringing that beard to our show tonight.
Hey, glad
Darius, you look super kicked back tonight, like super chilled,
man.
chilled
I'm
the hell
telling you,
out.
man. Listen, man. My brother messed up my lighting and stuff like that, so I had to change rooms, man. So
That's all right. You were good, man.
appreciate
Coming in strong.
I'm kinda in this chair, man, so I'm trying to keep it together.
There you go.
Keep it together. Keep it together.
Yeah.
And I'm battling COVID, so please pardon any
Yeah.
coughs or anything
All
throughout
those
the show.
viewers, put your masks on.
Please don't. Fuck your masks.
Hey,
That's a
man.
good intro.
Get,
See, we got a good intro,
get
guys.
well soon, Dustin, man.
I,
We
I
root for you.
appreciate it. This helps me feel a little better being on here with you guys. So again, we had a pretty cool weekend here for Chicago Bears fans. Want to dive into that? Um, I guess I'll start off by asking, since it is the thumbnail for tonight's show. Kiran Amagaji practiced for the first time today. He was activated off the pup list. How we feeling about Kiran Amagaji coming back to this team to participate in practice, and what do we think it means for this Bears team in terms of offensive line depth, Brandon?
I feel good about it. I liked the draft pick when they made it, and I know that I believe he started 14 games at left tackle before the injury, but he also played 10 games at right guard during his sophomore season. So I think it's good to have just depth in general, but especially at that position, right? And I know he wasn't, as highly sought after as a prospect as a guard than he was as a tackle, but the right guard is a very big concern right now for the Chicago Bears team. So I would like to see him. They're going to have to weed him into this, regardless of whether or not he is practicing. It's still going to take some time. But I would like to see him start getting some reps with at least the second unit at that right guard spot as much as I would tackle.
Okay, and that's because of your lack of confidence in Nate Davis.
Yeah, I mean, if Karan can be there and Nate can't, it's good to have So here's the thing where I differ from a lot of people. Like a lot of Karan was called a project a lot, and
Mhm.
I went back and watched a lot of Yale footage. I watched a lot of Karan, and I don't necessarily believe that he's a project.
Bear down that mess.
I believe that he's a player that can play when he's healthy tomorrow. I mean, I really do. If you guys watched the tape, I said it on a couple weeks ago on this podcast. If you watch the tape of him, man, you remember the blind side when Michael Orr made the block like all the way into the stands, and that's kind of
Yeah.
what like put him on the map for the scouts. Karan literally has plays where he actually like he literally blocks them beyond like the bench. He really does, and the guy is just a monster of a human being. So if you can find a position, if you can find use for him at any position on that line, is in terms of depth, I would probably start with the one place that you know you're in trouble. Because I'm sorry, guys, I would love to believe Nate Davis is going to make a turnaround because he's not just his attendance that bothers me; it's the performance he had last year. So let's not pretend like if this guy actually gets on the field, he's going to be, the staple they've needed at that position. So I would like to see Karan start playing inside and out.
Where are you at, Darius?
Um,
AC Adam with us. Ant Mass, what up, fellas? Thank you for
Hold on,
joining.
guys.
Keep
what's
the
going on?
comments coming. Darius, what you thinking on Kiran Amagaji?
Well, I'm glad he's healthy. I'm glad he's been activated back, into able to practice. You know, let's amp him up. And I'm with Brandon. Because Nate Davis hasn't given any of us confidence that he number one is going to be reliable. You know what I mean? So we spent the draft pick on this guy. If we have an opportunity to see what he can bring us, outside of just added depth, if he can come in and make an impact, that'll be great too. I understand that he went to Yale, and Yale is not, you know what I'm saying, your Power Five, you know what I mean,
Yeah, the
school.
competition is not as
Yeah,
strong
I
as it
mean,
is.
but if you can play, you can play, and
Yeah, no
hopefully,
doubt.
from a technique standpoint, and from a fundamental standpoint, he may need to get a little stronger, or he may come in prepared. We never know, but the most important thing is that he's healthy. You know what I'm saying? We have Nate as a starter. He's only been, this is Nate's first time, what I'm saying, in live action. So hopefully he can improve from,
You
you
could
know,
tell it was his first time in live
yeah,
action too. He was
yeah,
not
you
playing very
know.
well, man. He did not
So,
play very
but
well.
right now, the young man can bring us added depth, and if whatever we decide to do with Nate, or if Nate decides not to, what I'm saying, play well with others, for lack of a better term, hopefully he can be a replacement.
Yeah, and I mean, I think, and I gotta kind of disagree with. I know Brandon thinks that there's potential now to start. I don't know if that's what would be best for Kieran in terms of, you know, you did mention Darius. He played for Yale. The level of competition is not. It's not like going from Georgia to the NFL where you're seeing some of that size and speed and some NFL technique across from you. It's that's few and far between when you're playing at Yale. So I mean, like a year for him to develop with the skill set that he does have, I think is ideal for his growth and for him being able to impact this team. If he gets thrown into it, I want to see what he has for sure. But I I thought that Pryor handled himself really well with that start at guard a couple weeks ago. You know,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, I think we have some decent depth. The other concern is Bates is still not practicing. Shelton is still our starting center. I mean, so Bates could also slide into that backup guard role potentially if Shelton beats him out for this job. So I mean, I think he's going to be slotted pretty low on this depth chart, guys, to where the impact that he can make might not be able to be measured so much in his play in this
Hmm.
first year. And I don't
Yeah,
know if that's the worst thing for him because if he does get that time to develop and really refine his technique and put on a little more muscle, like that's not bad for anybody in my mind.
yeah.
So do you think that Kiran is kind of being groomed to take over Braxton Jones' job?
Nah, I don't think so. I mean, I think the fact that he's versatile, what I'm saying, is
Straight
kind
up.
of like
That's why
a,
you're at.
a fringe benefit of him being with us. I don't think he's prepared to necessarily take over, for Braxton Jones. But honestly, we never know, man. Like we never know until these guys get out here and you know what I'm saying, and you
What's
know
up, Cliff?
get into the
Dante?
fire, man. We just never know. You
And
know,
that's what I like about him is he was drafted, and I know this for like the Bears drafted him to play tackle. I mean,
Mm.
he is there
That's
for
what I was
depth.
gonna say. I
He's
mean,
there for depth at the tackle position, and I agree that the guy shouldn't plug in as the left tackle for Caleb Williams for a rookie quarterback today. But I'd love to see him get some reps at guard because guard is an easier position to play. It is,
yeah, for
and
sure. But I immediately had the feeling when they drafted him that Braxton Jones going into a contract year has not really solidified himself as a starting left
no,
tackle
he's
in the
not. He's
league.
not getting a $100
Yeah.
million
No,
contract.
no, and so, but I mean, but does he push for a bigger contract? How does he play this year? That's a lot of unknown there. So I mean, it felt like a contingency plan on Poles' part, thinking a year ahead. Like if Braxton Jones does not perform to the level that we do expect him to perform to, and we're not comfortable giving him a contract, then we have this gentleman here that we can develop for a year, and Kieran to step into that role. That's what it felt like to me on the day of the draft. That was my initial thought.
now I think the first thing that has to happen, for him to develop properly, you have to define his role for him. You know what I mean? Because my thing is this: when you try to, balance him out where he can be decent on both in both positions, I think you kind of take away from him. I think you need to decide where you want to play him and have him train and develop in that particular spot. You know, now
No, for sure.
like I said, his versatility is key. I mean, it's cool, but you know what I'm saying? Like being not having a set of skills and not being great at any of them may become a detriment, especially in the situation we in now.
In terms of his development, for sure. And guys, we already got 30 in the chat. Cliff, Dante, AC Adams,
What's up,
Cheryl,
guys?
Brandon Tracks. Guys, like and
Got some track.
subscribe, please. I know y'all probably already have, but tell a friend, share it with somebody. We like to have fun talking Chicago sports with you guys, and we'll always get you involved. You got any questions, send them our way. And I also want to shout out Bridges Scoreboard, Northwest Indiana, Chicago Sports Headquarters, all right? They got a Hall of Fame menu and the coldest beer in Chicagoland, all right? Go check them out. Great sponsor. Very tragic what happened to the owner over there. So, continue to send our prayers to the family and them over there, but also support them by showing up and hitting up that awesome menu and taking in the awesome atmosphere. Because I've been there a few times. I know Brandon, you have too. So it's a cool place to hang out and just watch some
It is.
sports.
It
It's a
feels
great sponsor.
nostalgic. Check it out, guys. It's
Yeah.
nostalgic environment. Very rare to find though.
Yeah. So just wanted to shout them out before we move on. So I mean, like I don't know. I mean, Kiran, I don't know how much impact he's going to make this year. I feel like if he is thrust into a role where we're seeing him play
It's probably a
and
bad.
real games, yeah, then that's probably not what's best for this team because they traded for Bates and they signed Shelton and they gave Nate Davis this big ass contract and we need Braxton Jones to step up this year to show who he is if he is that starting left tackle or if he's just another Charles Leno that we don't want to pay.
Oh God.
You're right. So I mean, like, and Leno went on to play pretty decent for the Commanders in that role for a couple years, but not worth paying to keep as a left tackle. So
Right.
I think if we see Kieran this year, it's gonna be a bad thing. I want to see
It's
him
a result.
develop.
It's a result of problems for sure.
Yes, correct. Now
Yeah.
maybe he steps up in that role. People do all the time, but for a rookie to get thrust into that position, coming out of a weaker conference, let's just be real, that the Ivy League, like that's just not ideal in my mind.
Yeah. You mentioned Pryor earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Pryor's another guy that can play guard or tackle.
He played both at
Like,
Indianapolis. Yeah.
see, for him, for Pryor, Pryor, he may be a little bit more prepared because he's a vet. For a rookie coming in, you kind of have to define those guys' role for them, and then develop them that way. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah. So
But
I mean, it is that role. I think, from my perspective, just if I was that GM making that pick, he was picked to be that left tackle contingency plan. I don't know that he's a right guard. He's played it, but I don't know that that's why the Bears spent a third round pick on him. I don't think so. I think that they're taking a shot that he could be the replacement for Braxton Jones if they don't see what they want to see out of him.
yeah,
And then as a backup plan, potentially that right guard if Nate Davis doesn't pan out like Brandon was saying.
yeah, I feel like they got a plan for him though.
Yeah, I think he's third on the depth chart. I think you
So what do
absolutely
you
right.
think their plan is?
I think they just, he's a development piece. He's one of those
Develop into what though?
low risk, high reward type of guys. Um, I think he's gonna be a tackle, man.
Okay.
I
All right.
think that's where they want him to be. But
So
I don't think he necessarily has left tackle size. Like I've always like even when we drafted right, I envisioned right going over to left, kind of like what the Skins did to Trent Williams. Because
okay.
at one point they started him out at right, and then he ended up at left.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
um,
So you see it, and if you're looking at it, you see Darnell Wright moving to that left tackle,
I
and
think
then
so.
Kieran sliding into that right tackle down the line.
Yeah, if we don't find a quality piece, via free agency or it depends on where we pick at in the draft, because sometimes the draft can tell you what what I'm saying, what position you need to kind of target depending on where you're picking at, you
Yeah.
know. So like, I'm glad he's healthy. I can say that because, with the plan they have for him, like I said, the plan is to develop him at tackle, I think. But even if that's the case, if he has to slide in and fill into one of those guard spots, then hey, anywhere where he can get some bullets flew at him. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and that was a good point by Brandon, and I think we all kind of pegged that at the beginning too, where he does have some guard experience, so him filling in that role could make sense. It's just, if you look at this depth chart, I think he's going to start out pretty behind the eight ball, given that he hasn't been healthy yet. He's still got to get healthy and get in game shape, NFL game shape. There's
Hmm.
there's just guys in front of him right now to where if he does end up playing meaningful minutes, like Brandon said, things have gone wrong.
He grew up
So
an hour. He grew up an hour west of the city.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. He grew up watching the Bears. He's a Bears fan.
Yeah,
So
you guys see the tweets he was making a few years ago when he was like a freshman in college?
yeah, yeah,
He said this entire offensive line should be cut.
Mm.
Thinking what we were all thinking a few years ago.
What's up, Scrolls? Thank you for joining us. Thanks for thanks for the comments. Keep those coming, guys. Want to shout out TC's World of Wonders. Got all your sports jersey needs satisfied over there. All right. Chicago sports jerseys of all kinds. I know a lot of our guys got some Rome, got some Caleb. Nice quality, fair price. Hit those guys up if you're looking for your Caleb Williams jersey to rock this year and represent.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, we watched this preseason game. I think we can move on from Kiran. I think we kind of understand that he is a project. So, I mean, we're happy he's back. We're happy he's healthy. To sum that up, right? Like Darius said, but there were guys that were playing this past weekend. We watched another anticipated game. Caleb Williams. What were your biggest takeaways from that game? What something positive, something maybe negative, Brandon?
I think positive. We've got some really quality depth pieces on the defensive side of the football.
Okay.
There was guys who were, I mean, impressed me. Jalen Jones is a guy I've kept my eyes on. He's played really well. Austin Booker's playing really well. I mean, the guy's got, he clearly doesn't have the tools right now, the strength, but he's got some moves. But he's got a motor, man. That kid just doesn't quit. Anytime he gets a sack, it's because he just keeps chasing the play, which is something you want to see from a guy who's trying to make a roster. Um, the interior offensive line does worry me a little bit, guys. I think the best things we've seen from Caleb so far is when he's evaded pressure and evaded sacks. Like the rushing touchdown. I mean, most quarterbacks are dead in the water in that play. So you get a little bit of the Justin Fields taste, but it's not what we wanted, right? We want a guy who's throwing the football, and because he's such a threat as a passer, it's been he's keeping the defense on his heels, which is gave him the ability to walk into the end zone literally on that play. But
What's up,
yeah, I'm
Sean?
not thrilled about the starting pass rush. The two places that I said a month ago on this podcast, guys, I'm concerned about the interior offensive line and the pass rush across from Montez Sweat are literally just, I mean, almost zero production. It's concerning. I got a lot of guys telling me Coleman Shelton looks like he's the answer. I'm not seeing the same thing on the field.
Mm.
I know Caleb Williams has held the ball a little too long, which is we knew the big thing with Caleb Williams is gonna kind of have to break this hero thing, right? He's gonna have to he's gonna have to understand in the NFL you don't get that time, and you can't always create. You got to take what you're given. But yeah, I would say looks like our defense finally has some depth. Like if there's some injuries, like last year with Brisker with the concussions, we've got some. I think Jonathan Owens has played really good football for the Bears so far.
Made some really nice open field tackles in that game.
Yeah, the guy can tackle, man. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
he I
He's
don't know
solid,
how he is in
stable.
deep
Yeah.
coverage, but he's when somebody catches the ball in front of him, he's going to bring it down for sure. So I like the depth I've seen on the defensive side of the football. Tyson Bagent played a really good game after all the crap I talked last week.
Yeah, 7 of 8,
Yeah, I mean
80 some yards,
he played
touchdown. Yeah,
he
he played
played
pretty well.
some poor quality defenders, but he did exactly what he's supposed to do. But
Oh,
yeah, I don't this offensive
let's
line
talk
guys.
about that, man. Let's talk about that because you just said he played some poor quality defenders. Our offense came out against the second string defense and went 3-and-out 3 times in a row.
Oh, I was the for the I. This
That's
is how
concerning.
I said this to you guys in the text, and I want to say this now. Kudos to Matt Eberflus because this is not a Shane Waldron decision to leave
Keeping those
guys
guys out.
to leave
Yeah.
those guys out there because till the half ended because that was about as pathetic as it was going to get if they had pulled him after 3 drives, right? I mean, it was
He
like
wanted them to get
he
some good vibes
he
going
was
out.
like 2 for 7 for like 19 yards
Mm.
before those final 2 drives. So I'm glad they let Caleb kind of
Tyson
lead.
Bates highlight video for you, Brando.
Here we go. Bearski, of course. Oh, so yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of pros and cons so far, man. It looks like an offense that's going to take some time.
Darius, real quick, I just want to shout because like a person that continues to stand out to me, and Cliff mentioned him. I mentioned him last week. Tried to get him over the Tyson Bajan talk, but Daniel Hardy has
Yeah.
been playing his ass off. That guy it's the Energizer Bunny. He does not stop pushing on the pass rush. He is looking very good. I agree with you, Cliff, and I really want them to find a spot for him on this roster because
Couple of penalties in the preseason, though. That's not you don't want to be doing that.
I mean, that's gonna happen when you're a guy trying to make a team. He's playing aggressive. He's playing
He's
hard,
hungry.
balls to the wall. He's also being held an awful lot too, man. That I'm seeing. The guys are grabbing him, so
Yeah,
he plays through that.
those two players are very similar to me, Hardy and Booker. Just all motor, man.
Yeah,
Those guys just don't quit,
for
and
sure.
it's cool. It's cool to
Booker's
see
got a
because
little more physical ability, physical skill set that Hardy don't have, but Hardy just plays his ass off. So yeah, I'm a big fan of his in this preseason. I think he stood out the most.
He's hungry, man. Hungry Hardy. That's what I call him.
Hungry Hardy, hungry
Yeah,
Hardy.
hungry, man. You can tell he plays hungry, man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
Um,
when those two are in the field together, Booker and Hardy, when they're in the field together, man, they're wreaking havoc. They've been causing problems for sure.
Bearsky, if you want to upload a video, man, have at it. Thank you, sir. Tyson Bajan all throws. Be a good follow up to last week's pod.
yeah, Bajan had good ball placement. Yeah, he was playing against some guys we probably not gonna see on Sundays, but his ball placement was great, man. He put it right there on the spot where it needed to be.
It was the week prior too, man. It really was. Like he's impressed me. I've been a big doubter of Tyson Bajan. He's impressed me in these 2 games that
Oh,
he's played this preseason.
I don't want. I can't fail to mention when you ask me about positives, man. Roma Dunze looks like the real deal. I
Roma
mean,
Dunze on that
he really
reverse.
does.
That on that reverse. Yeah.
And if he had been more aware of his position in the end zone,
That
he
was the
got him.
big failure in that game
Yeah,
for him, for sure. He's got to know where his feet are. He can't be standing out of bounds when Caleb makes that play.
That was a hell of a throw, man.
It really was. It really
that was
was.
a hell of a play because that play broke down so quickly.
Yeah, yeah,
Rome's gotta do a little better there. He'll learn. That's what preseason is for, to learn. I don't think he's gonna make that mistake again. I doubt anyone's harder on him about that than himself, based
yeah.
on what I've seen of him in Hard Knocks.
True said. Yeah.
That's great. That's a great quality, man, for a young guy.
Yeah, he wants.
Both our rookies, man, real mature guys, man.
Well, what about Kyler Gordon, man? That guy stood out
Oh
more
my
than
god.
anybody in that game. Kyler
Yeah,
Gordon was a
I,
beast in that game.
I
I
hope all
watched
the
the game a couple
doubters.
times, man. I watched the game a couple of times, and
Yeah,
the secondary, they blew a couple of coverages, but as far
Hicks
as
is terrible.
the far I was going to touch on him and Owens. As far as their tackling and getting to the ball, they A+ to me. You know what I'm saying? As far as tackling and getting to the ball, those guys in that first quarter, man, they were laying the hat, man.
they
Um,
were, but Hicks also.
but
I
they're
don't know.
backups, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
but
I don't want to see much of Hicks. I'd much rather see Owens be in that third safety role, filling in for Brisker, Byard. But Hicks is trying to do his best. You can see it, but like he also blew a couple tackles too. So I mean, I don't know. It's gonna happen when you're trying to play hard and make the team. That's gonna happen.
yeah, and honestly, that first quarter, you can tell those guys came out because they understood they were playing up against the twos and the threes, and as far as being a professional, I was kind of disappointed that those guys came out with such a lack of intensity and fire. I wasn't as high as an offensive line this week as I was last
No,
week.
and
You know,
Nate Davis was a big part of that,
I
man.
was very disappointed in the whole front five because we're going up against the Bengals' second and third string guys. You know what better time
Thank you,
to
Bersky.
what better time to um enforce your will than that time. You know what I mean? You know, because it makes for good habits. You know what I mean? You know, the standard has changed for us, man. So as players, you know, they have to come out, you know, with that same, you know, attitude that the standards change. Like we can't afford to be lax against anybody.
Who
If
was
more
lax? I don't know that they were lax though, man.
well, I
I
say
don't know
that
about
because
calling out their intensity. You think that they just weren't up for the game? Like they were just kind of
yeah,
treating it like a blah preseason game?
because you know they had practiced with those guys all week. You know what I'm saying? With the ones, you know. And then they come into this game understanding that they're playing up against twos and threes. Me personally, I didn't feel like they came out with the focus or intensity that should have been out there, going against those guys. Like, and I hate to keep pressing this issue, man, but the standard has changed, man. You know, and we have a rookie at QB, and we have to set an example. You know, we have to set an example, and for the reputation that we have nationally, you know, I feel like we have to set a different, we have to set a different tone. Regardless if it was Morgan Park High School out there, we should have dominated because we're going up against, we put our starters up against twos.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's easy to shit on the Bears offense, first string going against the second string. But
Yeah,
those guys on the other side are playing for something too. They're playing for
absolutely.
more. For sure. Like they're playing for a spot on the roster potentially. So like those guys were playing hard too. I don't necessarily want to call into question their their want to in the game. I mean, I thought it showed, and maybe you're right because Eberflus left them out and wanted
Yeah,
them to get into a rhythm, and maybe it took a smack upside the head for that to happen. Like maybe he thought they weren't focused because to leave him out for that whole half, it said a whole lot. I mean, it said he wasn't liking what he was seeing. That's for sure.
right. And shout out to Eberflus for that, But and I mean that respectfully, man. I just feel like um, we have to, we have to change the national outlook, and it starts with practice. It starts with preseason because it's not like we've had a long, we've had these long years of sustained success. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's for sure. And I mean, I think Hard Knocks is changing the narrative, is going to help change the narrative on the Bears nationally. That's a big part of this season. It really is
I
like just
think it already has.
yeah, no, it has, and it's going to continue to. But the Bears have to back that up with their play.
Yeah.
That's
The
100%.
Bears have to,
Did you
those guys in uniform and helmets, they have to press that issue.
did you guys hear Pat McAfee after he watched episode 2 of Hard Knocks say on his show he had no idea who Jalen Johnson was? He's-
Get
he,
Uh,
the fuck.
he apologized for it. He's like, I had no idea who this dude even was.
Keenan Allen's like something always goes wrong.
Yeah, and he's like, after watching Hard Knocks, they got themselves a baller, like a dog over there. I was like, how did you not know who Jalen Johnson was, man? Like, what the fuck?
but see, that's what I'm saying, man. Not McAfee, but these guys in the media, man, they still, they take their chances of, kicking dirt on us, man. And we got to change that. And the only way
Well,
we change that is we go out there and handle business. And like I hate to keep harping on. I was just disappointed, bro. I was disappointed in the way those guys came out for that game.
well, they definitely turned it around. I mean,
Yeah, definitely did.
Caleb's technique on that reverse was perfect. He sold that thing perfectly. The handoff to the fake pitch, the fake handoff to the pitch to Rome. I mean, getting outside the pocket and making that beautiful throw downfield to Dunze. And
Yeah.
then, and the one that didn't count where he bought the time and rolled out the pocket and found a Dunze in the corner of the end zone for what should have been a touchdown, and then bails out of the pocket and runs in for a touchdown. I mean, it's good that they finished out on a
Mm.
very high note.
Yeah.
And you can dominate the preseason. I read something earlier, the year that the Lions went 0-16, they went 4-0 in the preseason.
Yeah.
Like
And look at us in 22. You know.
preseason don't mean shit. I don't have a doubt in this team. I don't think Eberflus. I don't think Eric Washington is not a guy that's going to let his team just come out soft, come out not up for the game. I don't think. I don't think this coaching staff. Again, my take on this Bears offseason, the players are great. I mean, obviously adding Caleb Williams, Roma Dunze, Keenan
Hmm.
Allen, those make a big difference. But the coaching staff changes that they made to change what I think is going to the culture of this team is going to be the biggest addition of this offseason. This team is going to play hard every game. I don't see Morton letting his running backs come out. He's in their asses. He was my favorite thing on this most recent Hard Knocks episode, getting after Wheeler. That he don't fuck around.
Yeah,
And
I heard stories. He's cool.
yeah. So I mean, like, I think this coaching staff is going to keep these guys focused, and you got a pretty solid group of veterans that are going to help keep these guys focused. Like just today, Montez Sweat is working with Darnell Wright on how to attack a counter move from a defensive end. Like
Yeah.
that type of mentorship is
Mhm.
is taking place on this team along with the coaching. I don't. It might have been a concern in that game, but that was a preseason game, and
Yeah.
those games don't count.
I don't
I think
expect
this
it.
team is going to come out ready for week one. I really
Yeah,
do.
I don't expect it to continue. Like, when I talk about these guys, man, I'm mainly just week to week. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't try not to go too far in the past, and I try not to go too far ahead. But when these guys do well, I'm the first one to give them props. But I feel like we have to be real here. We all love the Bears, man.
Three
But I
three and
feel
outs against the second team defense is not acceptable. That
right,
was ass. They
right,
look like shit.
And
I
Caleb,
started.
and
I
Caleb was
started.
missing throws too.
yeah,
Yeah, and the pass protection wasn't great, and there was miscommunications on routes.
hmm
It was sloppy. It was unacceptably sloppy. I agree with you there, Darius, 100%.
Shout out to Eberflus for making them guys earn their bench time, man.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
And a couple people, Scrolls, Cliff, have mentioned the turf. Obviously, Poles and Cunningham were inspecting that before the game. The Bears turf, it's going to be an issue sometimes, especially if they have concerts right before games. So
yeah, it's
hopefully,
always been an issue though.
yeah, for sure. And so that's the thing that you have to like. It's great that we have this what we think is going to be a prolific offense, but at the end of the day, we do play in Chicago. We are going to be playing in the winter months,
Yeah,
in
it's gonna be bad
Chicago.
out
That
there.
run game needs to be on point, and our offensive line needs to be great in that run game for us to win games down the stretch. That's just going to be the case, man. The only thing that will stop that is a dome. And I know we put together these players. We want to kind of play Madden a little bit with these guys, and I've been playing Madden. I'm having a lot of fun with this Bears team, but that's a video game. In real life, we know that this Bears defense is going to need to show up when it counts, and our run game is going to have to carry us through some of these games, especially with the rookie quarterback. Brandon,
Absolutely.
Did somebody mention in the chat there that they had a weekend long Metallica show on that turf before they on that grass before they had a
Man,
yeah, that's what
preseason?
we were just talking about. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's they got to
yeah.
make their
No, I
money,
mean,
man.
listen, and I made that point, Scrolls, that those second team guys for the Bengals are playing for jobs. 100%. I made that point, and I agree with that. I'm
I don't
again,
think.
we're not going to
Can
hold it.
let me say this real quick.
Go for it.
I don't think the lack of production on offense was. Bears fans need to understand this, guys. We have a lot of talent on this team. There's no doubt about it. But we've hammered this and hammered this and hammered this. Darius has, Dustin has, I have myself. I don't know that it was necessarily the level of the Bears played poorly on offense as opposed to the defense they played making plays. I mean, the one play where the second round pick, the rookie on DJ Moore, came in and swatted the pass deflection. That was a great play.
Yeah,
But other than that, the Bears just look sloppy. And guys, when the regular season kicks off, don't expect that to change. I mean, and I'm not saying they're going to come out and choke. What I'm telling you is like you're going to see growing pains with an offense that has a new coordinator, a new QB coach, a new QB, two new receivers, a new tight end, a new running back. This team is going to struggle on the offensive side of football early and often. I really believe that. That's why you're going to see a heavy dose of DeAndre Swift and Khalil Herbert when the season kicks off. I really, really believe that. And I think it's fair. It's fair, isn't it? I mean, an off season's not very long. It's not like
Nah,
these guys have been together for 5 years. You know what I mean? This is
No, yeah,
they're
they just got together with a
the
lot of
players themselves are figuring out what we're figuring out as fans the same time. I mean, this is going to be something. So don't get pissed off with this Bears offense. Like, don't get hate on Caleb. Don't hate on anybody. Like, you're going to see some things. There's probably going to be a decent amount of penalties. I'm guessing. You know, like legal shifts and pre-snap penalties too, because these guys are there. It's just this is a part of a brand new roster, and it's a good roster, but it's still new.
yeah, most
yeah,
definitely.
for sure. And I mean, I I like I said, I have faith that they're going to come out for the regular season ready to go, and I think that they'll develop game plans to kind of adjust to how Keenan is getting used to Caleb and how Caleb is getting used to Keenan. I mean, we heard Eberflus talking about it in
Can
Hard
we
Knocks.
can we talk about Keenan Allen a little bit?
Well, I mean, before we do, let me just mention River Street Tavern, um, West Chicagoland's most delicious and fun sports dining experience. All right, head over there, check out Kyle, check out what is it, Taco Tuesdays. You got karaoke on
Two
Thursdays.
dollar burgers on
$2
Wednesdays.
burgers on Wednesdays. They always got something going on, guys. Another great sponsor of ours. Great food, great service. Hit them up over in East Dundee and have fun doing it. And then, yeah, Brandon, I mean, Keenan Allen seemed to be the focal point of the offense today in practice. It did produce some negative results. Caleb Williams threw a couple picks, two INTs for Kyler Gordon. Again, Kyler Gordon follows up his awesome preseason game where he made a lot of impact in a lot of different areas with, playing very well in today's practice,
Yeah,
Yeah,
taking two away from Caleb.
it's contagious, man.
I think we can all anticipate a really good season out of Kyler Gordon.
I really am, yes.
I
But I
hope.
mean, yeah, Keenan Allen caught 3 touchdowns today, right? They were
Yeah,
force
not
feeding
so
him.
much. And I'm not concerned about Keenan Allen. I'm not. And his I don't know, lack of involvement in the preseason isn't my Keenan Allen though to me looks different physically. That's the one thing that I'd say
Bigger.
about him.
He's
What?
heavier. He's
Yeah,
heavier.
He's carrying more
yeah.
weight.
And I don't, and I, like I told you this, Dustin. Darius, I was reading something that said like the Bears kind of encourage
A
this,
little too much serendipity
but
ice cream.
you don't want to change something about a player who's played as well as he has his entire career, and you also don't want to add weight to a guy who has health concerns. I don't know if I love the idea of Keenan Allen coming into the season being. I think they said it was like 13 pounds, 14 pounds bigger. Like I don't, and I know
211 pounds is
he
his.
was
Yeah.
he was injured, so he probably put on some weight towards the end of last year before the offseason started. But I would love to see him as healthy as he can be. I guess so.
Of
That's
course,
definitely
we all would. We all
yeah.
would.
That's one thing. That's one thing I'm. I expected Rome and Caleb to take a little bit of time. Rome's young, but the Caleb thing I thought was like Dustin. We were talking about on the show a couple weeks ago. Who's the staple in this Bears offense? I said DJ Moore, but you said Keenan Allen, and I
Keenan
didn't.
Allen is
I
going to
did
be
not
Mr.
buy it.
Reliable.
Yeah, like it makes sense. He's the veteran, but something right now doesn't look. And the way he's played, Jalen Johnson's great, but the way Keenan Allen can beat the best of them, the way he's played in camp, the way he's played in the preseason, I think is a direct result of the weight that he's added, and I think that's something the Bears need to work out.
Yeah, I mean, I think eventually he'll get down to where he's
He's a
supposed.
pro. He's a
Yeah,
pro.
where he's supposed to be, and the way these guys practice and prepare, you know, over the coming weeks, it won't take long. Um, but he did. I think they say he's like at 230 now.
Yeah,
But I think he has an understanding.
he looks big, man.
I
He looks
think he has
big.
an understanding
He
what
ain't
it's.
at no 230. No fucking way. He's
That's what
sick.
they said. That's
No,
what they
who
said.
said that? I,
I seen it on Bleacher. I hate to call their name, but I seen it on Bleacher Report, and I seen it on the other a couple of other publications. Man, they say he's at 230.
nah. maybe 215. And that extra 15 pounds on that
But I
motherfucker.
think
Wow.
he understands what his role is going to be with the team. He's going to be in between them hashes and taking some big hits. So I guess
Hold on, hold on.
on
Darius,
that.
I'm not. I don't want to cut you off. But Sports Illustrated, Albert Breer mentioned offhand that Allen checked into camp at 230 pounds.
Oh, okay, but is he at that right now?
No, I think for, Allen he weighed in. Oh no, yeah, no, he is, and he weighed in for the Chargers at camp at 211. So he's 19 pounds bigger, man.
Yeah,
I mean, you can see it, right?
yeah.
I mean, you guys can see this when you're looking at. Like that's not just me,
Yeah, for
right?
sure. But
No,
like,
Like
no,
looking at
no.
him,
not
like
not 20
That's
pounds.
and that's why I threw that number out there, man. Because I read a couple of places that
Albert Breer is a pretty credible guy.
Yeah, for sure. He is. He just had a conversation with Caleb. Did you guys read that? Where Caleb is saving screenshots of his haters. the
um I heard Caleb do an interview. I can't remember if it was today or after the game that he held himself accountable, man.
Yeah, he said the sack was on him.
Yeah, on the sack and the fact that he held the ball too long, and he also what was impressive for me is that he went into detail. When the guys jumped off sides, he said he kind of played with the cadence a little bit
yeah,
and
which
caused
he's
the
getting
guys,
better at for sure.
you know, and listen, man, to hear a rookie talk like that, listen, I'm happy, man.
Yeah, the
Because
one thing you take away from Hard Knocks is this guy's like a 40-year-old man playing in a,
hey, man, he
you
gets
know,
it, man. He
I
gets it, and that's
Yeah,
what we've been missing, man. We've had guys come in here and play QB with a lot of ability. We may talk a lot of crap about them, but a lot of the guys that we had come in here, even Justin, Justin, Jay, even Mitch for that matter, they had ability and they were all different, but they had
business
ability.
guys, though. There's for sure business guys. The guys that just
Yeah,
nose
yeah,
to the grindstone for sure.
yeah. But this
what I
guy,
like though was I read today that Caleb is keeping receipts from people that have been doubting him, and he's got them saved on his phone. He's playing with the chip on his shoulder, even though he's the number one overall pick, and
Oh, it's
everybody's
so
ready to cry.
strange. The dynamic of Caleb Williams is the strangest thing in
Uh,
sports.
but I mean, it's good that he has some fuel for his fire. that's
and
that
again, he's been preparing
that's
for
great.
preparing for this situation. Most of his football playing life. To be a number one pick and be a to be QB1 for a franchise. So he's been preparing, and you can kind of tell in the way he talks.
Shout out to Scrolls who thinks Keenan Allen is just going crazy on the Chicago food because it's so much better than the West Coast food. Italian beefs, right? I mean, yeah. I mean, I listen. I think Keenan is a pro. I know we kind of switched subjects there, but I just kind of want to make sure that, like, I think Keenan is gonna be fine this
Yeah,
season. I
I
think he's
agree.
gonna have a hell of a season. Honestly, he's gonna be the go-to guy in those crucial spots. I think third and four. I think Keenan Allen is gonna make himself very available. And shit, if he's 230, he's a wider target for Caleb to hit.
Well,
That's
that's what the article kind of pitched is like the
yeah.
Bears appreciated the addition of weight, but to me, which and you never know, man, but to me, the way he hasn't won in practice, the way that until today, and the way that he's played in the preseason, because I don't necessarily think Caleb's not seeing him. I don't think he's been very separated from his defenders.
Yeah.
That's the biggest concern for sure
Well,
because
that's not really that's not really his game. His game is finding holes in them zones and
yeah.
making a big catch. Another thing I want to add, we have to be thankful that this offense, the way it's set up, and the players that we have around it, we don't have to necessarily lean in one direction or the other.
Absolutely,
So
a lot of options.
that's a
Darius, can I ask you a question?
go ahead.
After watching Saturday, and we'll see another. He probably won't play. I think the last preseason game they sit everybody, right? No, no,
Uh, uh,
nobody who matters plays, right? Because you want to see who's going to get cut from that
that's what I
75.
thought too, but I think I don't I think they're going to handle this one a little bit differently because of the situation. I think they're gonna
Well,
handle
so okay, so let's say that's the case. Let's say Rome plays.
it.
If Rome keeps showing you what I think, I mean, that catch, guys, the throw from Caleb was the thing that everybody's going to see, but he was contested on that catch, and he was kind of losing balance in the middle of finding that ball, and he got a little bit tripped up. But is Roma Dunze a better option starting this cross from DJ Moore and letting Keenan kind of relax a little bit?
I think they're gonna
Uh,
come out in a three receiver, one back set. I think that's gonna be our base offense.
But I mean, like, you got the 31-year-old who's had health issues. We know that. And I'm not saying this like Keenan Allen shouldn't be on the field. I'm
Mm.
concerned about his health, and I'd like him to be around for the playoffs if the Bears actually get there. And then you drafted a guy ninth overall, right?
Mm.
I mean, like, Rome should be on the field
he's going to
I
be on
think
the
all the
field, but
time.
not sacrificing
Like,
Keenan
Malik
Allen.
Neighbors guys and Marvin Harrison aren't going to be on the bench.
No,
but
neither
you
is
gotta think
Rome.
about it. And
Like
those
Darius
guys
said.
over there. No, I'm sorry, Dustin.
No, it's fine. But like you were saying, it's going to be three wide receiver sets. Obviously, Rome is not the number one receiver here. He's going to be starting for this team, and he's going to have a very expansive role that's going to expand as the season goes on. But there's no way that he's going to usurp Keenan Allen, in the first 8 weeks of this season. If by the end of the season he's outperforming Keenan Allen, that's great, and the cream will rise to the top. But there's no
Yeah,
way that the coaching staff is giving him opportunities over
but
Keenan Allen to
the
start. No way.
the
And
statistic,
those guys that you're talking about, Marvin Harrison and Malik Neighbors, do not have caliber receivers of
right?
DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, bro. They just
But
don't.
Justin, so do you believe that what we're seeing in the preseason is just like trial and error? Because the Bears have played the lowest percent of 11-man football, which is a three wide receiver set. We have
I
not
don't
played
think
that
Shane
football.
Waldron is showing shit in this preseason. No,
Well,
I
a
don't.
lot of it is
I don't
due.
think it's trial and error. I think he's trying to keep. I think he's trying to keep everything in his pocket until the season starts.
A
I don't
lot
think
of it
he's
is due to
showing
the
it.
fact that Keenan Allen doesn't give you a lot of reps in preseason, and
Yeah, exactly.
he
It's going
hasn't
to be
done it. He
completely
hasn't
different.
done it, most of his career. So I think I think we're just running, a lot of base, what I'm saying, regular stuff, and some of it I think is experimental too. But I
Well, it
think
appears he wants Mercedes Lewis and Gerald Everett on the field as much as possible.
Well, think about this though, Brandon. How much have we seen DeAndre Swift this preseason?
Well,
yeah,
he wasn't available for the last.
Exactly, and how much? And he played 2 snaps in the game before that. Our offense is going to be completely different than what we are seeing in preseason. DeAndre Swift will be the number one back, and the sets that they're going to run him out of are going to be completely different than the sets we're seeing right now. That's in my opinion, that DeAndre Swift is not going to be out there with 2, 3 tight ends all the
I
time.
think I don't know. I'm honestly, man. I'm starting to feel like we see less three wide receiver sets than I thought we would initially.
I mean, again, I don't agree with that. I don't think that Shane Waldron is coming out trying to show the league what this offense is going to do. I don't think that that's the case at all. And
yeah.
I don't think that Keenan Allen has been playing a lot of reps. And I just think that we're going to see something completely different when it's time for meaningful games that actually count.
Yeah.
I hope.
But that's what I think. And Bearsky makes the point here that Jackson Smith Ninjigba didn't get much use in Seattle, right? That started to come on later in the season, and he was playing with DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett.
He was
I
playing
think
with two
Rome is. I
pretty
He
think
was
young
a
Rome is
little
going to
guys.
be
upset by
more
that too.
involved.
He was a little upset by that too. He's not very high on Shane Waldron.
Roman Dunze is a much better player than Jackson Smith and
I
Jigba. And
think
I'm
so.
not taking anything away from him, but
John says you don't.
it's night and day.
John here says you don't think the Bears practice with purpose. Of course they do. Of course they do. But you don't put your best plays. You don't put your go-to stuff
Well, you
on
don't put
film in
Keenan
preseason.
Allen on the field a lot in the preseason.
Yeah, exactly. And but again, that's a tale as old as time. You're not putting your number one stuff out there on the field to be seen for teams to have film of it. Once the regular season starts in preseason, just not doing that. Of course, they practice with purpose. Today, their purpose was to get Keenan Allen involved as much as possible, and that showed in their practice. He pulled down 3 touchdowns. They targeted him a shit ton. So like there is a purpose for it, no doubt.
Agreed. Um,
Yeah, I don't think Shane Waldron's at all been It's not the Shane Waldron we're going to see in the regular season. I agree with you, Dustin.
No.
Shane Waldron has played so like conservatively, and he's made a really strong effort to balance run and pass. Have you guys seen this? I think the Bears play call and all through all three preseason games is like 51-49 run pass. And
And that's
that's
not
not,
Okay.
I don't expect that to be that way. I think the run will drop a little bit in the regular
I don't
season.
know, man.
it
I
just
don't.
depends, man. It
Yeah,
depends.
it's gonna depend on
Like
the game that they're in and
it's
the,
gonna be a week by
the
week thing.
He's
environment.
he's
Yeah.
ended all three first halves with the same amount of run plays as pass.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be a week by week thing, man. You know, if these guys decide to load the box up, then we're gonna air it out. If they decide to sit up here and play a lot of man to man, or play a lot of zone, then we're gonna run it down their throat.
Yeah,
I'm
and
just
so
glad we have the capability to be versatile in that
yeah,
in that.
to be multiple in what we can do for sure. And
Shane
then
Waldron's
Stroh,
Shane Waldron's not. Oh, he's not known, and he's been in situations that kind of affected his ability to do so. But he's not known for a coach who runs as much as he calls pass. It's just not. I don't see that being a thing for the Bears in the regular season.
well,
I would guess you're
last
looking
year
at
he
about 60-40 at least pass.
That guy in Tampa was pretty close though. The
Who's
guy in
that?
Tampa, OC in Tampa, the OC in Tampa, his running pass rate.
Canales,
Canales.
Um,
the Panthers head coach.
no, 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 no. The OC in Tampa.
Byron Leftwich.
No, 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 no.
No, Byron Leftwich ain't the
Nah,
OC.
it's not.
I thought Canales was
Why are
the
we talking
OC.
about the OC in Tampa?
Well, I'm sorry. Well, I'm just going run pass ratio. Forgive me, but
Okay.
he did a good job of with Baker Mayfield with the balance, the ratio with the running
Yeah,
passes.
Rashad White got abused on that team last year. Man, he got used. There was no spell really on that team.
Guys, keep the comments coming. Please like and subscribe. Again, share with someone who you're like minded with if you enjoy what we're doing. Darius is here with us. Brandon Duplessis. We're on Chicago Sports Podcast. Another one of our great sponsors is Serendipity Ice Cream. Again, Northwest Indiana, Griffith, Indiana on Griffith Boulevard. I mean, they got funnel cake Sundays. They got all kinds of crazy stuff. I mean, if you want to put on the weight like Keenan Allen, go hit up Serendipity Ice Cream. So, I mean, I think what we're saying is we don't know what the fuck we're saying. Like we don't know what this offense is gonna look like when
No,
it
we
comes
don't.
out. I can't pretend to know because if you look at Shane Waldron's pass, and Brandon, you can talk about last year their run ratio versus their pass ratio, but that changes every year with Waldron depending on who he has, what he has available to him. I
Well,
think
he's
that's something.
clearly a big personnel guy because I mean, this lack of use in Cole Kmet has blown my mind. Like I don't.
Well, again,
He's
that could mean nothing. That could mean everything.
Yeah,
It could
I
mean
don't think
nothing.
that's gonna carry over into the regular season. I don't think
it's
so.
it's it's not. It is concerning that Everett is um
by a
out
lot.
snapping Komet by like 50%. It's like 60% versus 30% in terms of their snaps so far in the preseason. Especially if you're a big believer that Komet's going to have a big season. Gerald Everett does have ties to Waldron going back multiple teams. He is Waldron's guy, and maybe that means something. Maybe it doesn't. I think the biggest thing to understand about Waldron is that he adjusts to the players he has. He has
Mhm.
shown that in every role that he's had. So being, I think us being able to predict what the Bears are going to do really comes down to what do we think the strengths of the Bears is offensively in terms of their weapons.
I
What
think,
do you want to lean on to have an identity?
yeah, I
Where,
think
where,
Waldron.
what do
I
you
think Waldron is he's more situational. I think.
game to game? Yeah, play to
Yeah,
play. Yeah,
and it's also based off of the scouting report of the team that we have coming in. You know, because everybody gets a scouting report at the beginning of the week of who we're gonna see or whatnot. If they don't have one already, but the fact that teams change each year. So I think because each team that we play is gonna show us who they are when they play against another team. So going into it, we got a scout report of what their strengths and weaknesses are. And I think Shane Waldron, I would like to believe that Shane Waldron is going to set a game plan to attack those strengths, those weaknesses. You know what I'm
Yeah, I would hope so, and I would also like Shane Waldron to wear a hat. I
saying?
He looked weird without the hat on the sideline. Not a fan. Maybe that keeps some of his awesome game planning, stuck in that head of his, that big ass head of his. But just wear the hat, Waldron. It's a better look for you, bro.
um, I want to go back to the trenches of this game against the Bengals.
Let's hear it.
Defensively, shout out to Eberflus for being very aggressive and calling those blitz
Yeah,
plays. You know, because though
it was the only thing working.
yeah,
I think that's
yeah,
going to be the case all year, guys.
I was just as disappointed in the D line as I was the O line.
Me too, Darius.
To
The
start it off
starting D line
either.
for sure.
Yeah, like I said, man. Yeah, those twos and threes, they playing for something, man. But at the same time, we are playing for something as well. We have just a bigger point to prove as anybody else played on that other side of the ball, man.
Yeah,
You
there's a player in particular on that defensive line, guys, that is not impressing me at all.
go for it.
And
It's going to be. Go ahead. I
it's the
know
guy that we all need to be better.
it.
Yeah,
It's
Let's hear
it's Javon Dexter. It's not
it.
Walker. It's
Let's hear it.
Javon Dexter. Javon Dexter. I have paid very close attention to Dexter in the preseason, and he is getting bullied, man. He's getting bullied. I thought this whole new him, fitter, more better shape. I'm not seeing anything. Like I don't, and I'm
I
gonna
don't
be.
see the
People are gonna
explosion.
hate on me for this, man. But I'm watching him specifically because that's the position that I think makes you kind of be the the top five defense that you need to be. And
Mm.
I'm not gonna say like in this preseason I'm writing the guy off, but I expected him during these games to be like this is where I thought I was like, oh wow. And then in the regular season, it's going to be like, okay, he comes down to earth because he's not playing against some of other teams' second string, third string players. But it's just not there. I haven't seen it. He has not gotten any pressure at all.
I don't see the explosiveness, man. I don't. I mean, his ability to bat the ball down is cool, but listen, bro, we ain't looking for Bill Russell or Dwight Howard.
Now, I believe he has two QB hits through three preseason games, which was only like theoretically four quarters. But I'm concerned, man. I don't like how I I
I, I
I
don't know, man. I'm saving my concern for the regular season. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. He still has, and we've talked about it last week, and we talked about it in our text and everything, Brando. He still has this propensity to just stand straight up off the snap, and
yep
then gets
get
out
beat.
leveraged, and then he gets. That's how you're going to get beat. Michael brought up the fact that Eric Washington's been calling the plays for this preseason. Not mad at you, Reflus. Appreciate that. He's wondering what our thoughts are on that. I think Eric Washington is going to continue to make Jervon his project. And I think when it comes to that defensive line, and I mentioned this last week, when I've seen Jervon at his best when I'm watching these games, it's when they're stunting. When Jervon is getting a little bit of momentum going towards the guy he's going to engage with, he then
Yeah,
has the ability to power through him, just straight blow
Yeah,
through him.
he's a strong
Yeah,
guy.
man. So I mean, like, I think Eric Washington is gonna be the key to that. Whether and obviously whether or not it works out is gonna fall on Javon Dexter. But I think he's gonna do everything he can to put Javon in a position to succeed and get the best out of him. And I'm waiting until the regular season to where I start throwing my hands up on Javon Dexter. I get what you're saying, but I just want to see him in the regular season because I still got high hopes for him. I'm not selling
yeah,
my stock.
I
yeah.
wanted to see him though dominate these guys he'd be playing across from in preseason.
I- I'm still optimistic, but I'm with you, Brandon, 100%. I would like to see, some form of dominance, man. You know, it ain't got to be a whole game or a whole quarter, but show us something. You know, I mean, because we don't want to get into this game where we turning things on and off. You know what I mean?
But there's some players that are just like that. There's
Yeah,
some guys, one guy who continues to stand out to me is Billings.
yeah, but
Billings is
yeah,
is a people eater, man. He's a space eater, and he's playing really hard. So I think if he's able to if they're playing next to each other consistently, Billings and Dexter throughout the season, that's going to make things easier on Dexter too, because Billings will be able to eat up two guys at one time and leave Dexter one on one. And if he's stunting off of that into a one on one, I think that's where he can do some damage. Again, it remains to be seen. He I think it's been said by Eberflus, it's been said by anybody who's run this style of Tampa 2 defense, that guy is the key to your defense, that three technique. So
Mm-hmm.
we need him to be good. And not just okay, we need him to be good this year. And if he's not, then we need to be ready to move on because we don't really have his replacement on this team. So
No.
that's going to make a big impact. So if you're saying that you don't think Dexter's going to have a good season, you're kind of saying that we're going to need to be blitzing an awful lot this season to generate
Well,
any
we
kind of
we
pressure.
we kind of said that a few minutes ago, and
Yeah, yeah.
I hope that I'm wrong. And I truthfully try not to see some in the preseason and think this is just a permanent result.
I
But I
don't want to
also,
overblow
I
preseason.
also
Preseason
think,
don't mean
I
shit.
also think difference makers in the preseason look really good. That's just typically what it is. Like
Well,
guys who are special against starting quality players are going to go out there in these preseason games and shine. That's what they're going to do, and that's where you
but how
see the
many of
kind
those
of
guys go out there and shine, Brandon, and then you never hear from them again? There's a
yeah,
just as many as those as there are of the ones that
but
shine and then have a good career. There really is.
look at guys like Caleb and Rome. They came out and there you see it. You already see it, right? Like it's just
Yeah, but
this
you
is
also
why
see
this
the
guy
mistakes too. You also see the
this is
mistakes too.
this is why this guy was drafted. And I don't know if you guys have seen something different from me, and if you have, tell me. But like Dexter isn't getting a push; he's getting beat up, and it's like
Yeah, I mean, again, I haven't seen a lot of explosion. He has batted down a few balls, and that's
and he's stuffed the run a few
mm,
times because he was good at that last year, and I didn't expect him to lose that to become an edge or to become a pass rusher. But on plays where the like, who was the kid that started for the Bengals?
where at.
The quarterback.
Logan,
The quarterback.
Logan, Logan,
Logan, Woodside,
Yeah,
Woody. Yeah,
I mean,
Side Jack.
Sweat got, and when I saw it, right? See, this is what I'm talking about. I saw Sweat right away when, like, he right off the snap, like it was like, oh, this is the guy last year who made the difference he did because he's right back to being a monster, and he was in the backfield constantly. And Dexter, there was just times where when Sweat got blocked, I was like, man, this quarterback's got all day, and I don't expect much from Walker.
And he made us
Dexter
pay.
was the Dexter was the guy I wanted to see kind of get through that line and create pressure, and it's just not happening, man.
Whoever was calling the blitz, Eberflus, Washington, whoever, kudos to those guys, man.
Yeah, Kyler Gordon's a monster, man.
Yeah.
That
And I
guy
just
gets going.
hope, I'm glad we got out of that game clean, and I hope Gordon stays healthy, man.
Yeah, he throws his body around, man. It's
Yeah.
man.
Because
consistent.
If you go,
his ability has never been really questioned. It's always been his availability that's been the problem.
well, yeah, and he's making strides in coverage too. And you mentioned coming out of that game clean. Like if you go look at NFL injuries, I was looking at the injury reports across the league today, man. And I mean, some of these lists are like 14 guys long, 15 guys long. The Bears is just Patrick Scales. That's the
Yeah,
only person listed on their
yeah.
injury report.
Valdez Scantling's going to miss 3 weeks. That was released like a few hours ago.
No, yeah, there's a lot of these guys have guys doubtful. A lot of these teams have guys doubtful for week one. The Bears, knock on wood, are like staying pretty damn healthy right now. We all know what a huge difference that makes in a season, and hopefully we can maintain that. Kyler Gordon, obviously, being one of those guys that we need to see stay healthy because I think he's going to make a big impact with those blitzes, off the edge like he did in that game. And I mean, he's just like you said, he's a baller, man. So I mean, health is going to come into play an awful lot in this season for every team. Right now, the Bears are looking damn great, and hopefully we keep it that way. But yeah, Ryan Bates week to week right now was not practicing today. Shelton starting at center. Thank you, John. But just on their official injury report, they didn't have anybody listed today,
Yeah.
so that was cool, And then Brisker didn't practice as well, but just overall in terms of health, they're doing a lot better than a lot of these teams in the league right now.
That's true. What do you guys stand on the cut candidates, man? What y'all think?
I you know where it's going to be really, because I think most of the units is going to be pretty clear cut where they make their cuts. No pun intended, but like the wide receiver room, the running back room, the offensive line, the DBs are the one thing that I like. Like one play, Josh Blackwell will blow my mind, and the next minute he blows my mind by just being an idiot.
Letting a punt go down.
Yeah, like letting a punt go from the 25 to the
Yeah,
4. Yeah,
that
it's
was
like, why not just fair catch the ball? That's the reason they give you that opportunity. But Blackwell, I haven't. Man, Terrell Smith has been super quiet. I haven't heard his name once, and I've seen him on the field.
you got to
And that's
pick.
and Jalen Jones has made some good plays. And then who Hicks, I'm not loving. So that's the room that's gonna.
Hicks is making the roster, I think, man. Unfortunately, I don't know about Wheeler. You guys think Wheeler's gonna make the cut?
I think so, man.
Yeah.
I
Not
mean,
as a
well, I
not as
take
a
it back.
running back.
I think he's going to be a practice squad, but I don't know how long he's going to be there if they sign him on the practice squad, man. I
He's
think they might
signed.
grab him.
He signed for 3 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
They gave him and Keith Randolph both contracts. Those were the two undrafted free agents they signed.
But
Wow.
they will be eligible for practice squad either way. With
And then they signed, I don't know the kid's name for the life of me. I can't remember that quarterback's name.
Austin Reed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know why I can't remember this guy's name. Yeah.
It's like the most generic white guy name that you could have. Austin Reed. So that's why it kind of just blends in. You know, I don't really have my fingers on the pulse of what the Bears are gonna do here. I know who's gonna be here, but like guys, I hope Dominique Robinson stays on this roster. He's been showing me something in these preseason games, and I think
Yeah,
that
on flashes. He has.
Another
yeah,
high
and
motor,
that's just a position of need for the Bears, guys. That I don't think they
another
can.
high motor guy for sure.
Yeah, and and,
And I
and
think
high athleticism.
a lot of it is predicated on if we can find that guy, on the waiver wire, or if Poe's is willing to make
Yeah,
a
is there somebody good enough to kick somebody out? Type
yeah.
of, yeah.
I think
That,
Rome Dunza is going to end up being their punt returner, man. I've
oh,
seen
God.
nothing good from their return unit.
Our punt return. I talked about this last week. I am not. I don't feel good about the return game in any kind of way. Not just like, okay, can you fair catch it? We can't even do that. Can you secure the ball on a kick return? We can't even do like those are things that are just be just good enough to not fucking muff the ball away or let a punt that you should have fair caught drop
Yeah,
10 yards down the field
a
to lose.
37-yard punt turned into a 62-yard.
Yeah, what is yeah, that's what we need to avoid. So hopefully we can get somebody in there with some brains. Guys, we got 50 in the chat. Michael joined us. What's up, Michael?
So,
Shout out
Michael,
to Chad.
John being very active. Bearski Film, AC Adam. You guys are doing great tonight. You guys are killing it as always. Scrolls, thank you for being here, bud. AC says Stroman looks good too. I really like Stroman. I liked him last year when in his spot play, and
He's
I
been
liked
with
him
us
so
for
far.
a while, man. He's been with us
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah,
yeah.
Stroman and Baskerville are players that always kind of make a name for themselves in the preseason. Then
Yeah.
you just don't see
Um,
them.
question:
What's up, Darius?
if Kadarius Tony is released
Did
by
he look good, man? He looked good.
if he's released by the Chiefs,
Give me nothing. I
Oh
want
no,
no
not sorry.
part of
I'm sorry, not
Kadarius
Tony.
Tony.
No,
What are
not
you talking
Tony.
about?
I'm sorry. I was thinking Worthy. Worthy looked good.
oh yeah, Worthy.
No,
Why are
I'm
we
good on
talking about
Tony.
Kadarius Tony?
But if Kadarius Tony is released by the Chiefs, and just for him to return punts and kicks, would you
That
pay him
dude
two
can't
dollars?
even
Would
catch
you
a
pay him
cab
two
out of
dollars to
Kansas
come
City,
play
bro.
for us,
No,
man?
thank you.
No,
No,
thank
thank
you.
you. No
Not even
fucking thank you.
$2. You wouldn't pay him $2 to come play for us, man.
I pay him $2 to stay away. No,
Yeah, no,
sir.
I'm good on Tony.
I'll sell him right now. Just
I
thinking
think
about
Tony
it.
I think Tony almost single-handedly lost that season opener against Detroit
Oh, he
last
he
year.
did. He single
Yeah,
handedly
again,
gave the
man.
Lions 13 points
I
in
had
that
I
game.
had
We're not
buddies
asking
with
them to run routes. We're not asking them to run routes. We just want them to just get the kickoff and get the punts, man.
No. No, thank
He
you. I
reminds me
want
of
nothing
Bayless Jones,
because
man.
then
He
there's
just
the
can't.
opportunity and the chance. What if our receivers get hurt and now we're putting Kadarius Tony out there to fucking volleyball set the football to the other team? No, thank you. I don't want no part of that.
I feel you.
Guys, let's talk Tyson Bagent for a second.
All right.
It's important that we rub Brandon's face in the fact that Tyson Bagent looked
Oh, I'm
really
not
good.
buying that. I'm not buying that.
Brandon
Stop
got
it.
Brandon got to give him a little props, man.
Yeah, man,
I
you did.
did. I did.
Okay, but I just don't remember it. I was kind of I got COVID brain, man. I'm a little foggy.
Hey, he
How did
look
you
like
think
a
he
poor
looked?
man's. He like a real poor man's Trevor Lawrence, man.
I
You
mean, I
talking
think.
about a
Sometimes
man?
Trevor Lawrence is a poor
You
man's
talking
Trevor
about a man
Lawrence.
that's down on his luck now?
Well, I love this topic because we went really deep into the depth that is the backup quarterback in general, right? So let's just get
Yeah.
away from Tyson Bagent for a minute. What
Mm-hmm.
do you guys think the backup
No. Hey,
quarterback?
hold on, real quick. We got to get on Tyson Bagent because
No, we will.
Bearsky uploaded a video that we need to share. This is called a segue into that video. So we need.
Okay, Tyson Bagent did what he's supposed to do as I think he was the third quarterback on the field, wasn't he?
Nah, you second.
Was he
Yeah, no,
second?
he's the
So
backup.
so he did what he's supposed to do, but I still think Tyson Bagent is who Tyson Bagent is. He can get his head wrapped around the football game. It doesn't make him any better of a player. He's not a good football player.
He was good enough to go 7 of 8 in that game, right?
Yeah.
Which was pretty solid, right?
Jaron Hall went like 11 for 12 with 2 touchdowns.
Dude,
I mean,
Jaron Hall is not as good as Tyson Bagent. I'm sorry. Jaron Hall sucks.
I
Jaron Hall
don't.
sucks.
Jaron Hall didn't play in the second division that is national NCAA. So like,
All right. Yeah. So he did what he was supposed to do. He controlled the game. He was very accurate with his passes. He was on time.
yeah, he played the Luke Getzey system. I mean, he did the dink and dunk thing. He played efficiently, but
It's
not
Shane
good.
Waldron.
But take away what he played against, and the circumstances of his
Let's
play.
see just how good Tyson
Yeah,
Bagent did, guys.
roll that footage, man.
Let's roll this
that
footage.
beautiful footage.
Bearsky loaded this up just for you. Bear with us.
Plenty of time to protect. Looking underneath, Carlson, pounding ahead. Bagent, roll to the open spot. Watch. So Pettis knows it's open and man. Another nice finish here, just enough to set the defense in. Yeah, it's just, well, even if it falls east lined up on the near side as the outside receiver. Bagent runs it down the side. Tyson Bagent even shows improvements from last year. That's quick on a fade route from the slot.
Brandon,
Dinks and dunks.
Brandon, you have to give him props. How he got that ball
How
over.
come I have? But okay, some of those passes were incredible, man. Well, the
Yeah.
pass to Homer in the end zone. What the hell was that? Like I was watching Fields again.
Nah, but Homer
But-
had to catch that, man.
But
Yeah, it was there for him.
how come we can ignore that he played like 3 quarters in a preseason game 2 weeks ago and looked egregiously bad?
Well, we're
Like,
not
that's the same
ignoring
guy.
that.
Thought he
That's
looked
the
as
same
bad
guy.
as he said.
Do you
But-
guys want Tyson Bagent playing quarterback for your team if you
No,
don't have
no,
Caleb
no,
Williams?
no.
No.
That's not the point.
Without Caleb Williams, if your quarterback is Sam Darnold, do you want Tyson Bagent to play on your football team?
That's not the
Well,
point.
I think that's a wash.
Yeah, no.
Well, I think
I
Sam
mean,
Darnold would have to come out and throw the 50-yard pass for him, which would concern the hell out of me to begin with.
But
but that deep pass to Pettis could that have been placed any more
man, I'm
perfectly
trying to
No, it's
tell you,
beautiful. It was a
than it
beautiful
was?
pass, dude. There's a reason he's in the NFL. Do I think that the Bears chose the best contingency plan at the backup quarterback position? No. And I want to say this. So
I think Tannehill's
now
way
that we're
better
past
option.
the video, you have two things that you need to depend on when it comes to a backup quarter: veteran leadership, somebody who can coach a young guy. Our quarterback's a rookie. A veteran's required on this team. Every other team in the NFL knows this. This is the process that's happened for the last 45 years. Second, if the backup guy isn't a veteran, he should be somebody that you might be excited could start for your football team one day. Like Trey Lance looked incredible this weekend. I've been telling people for 2 years, don't quit on this kid. And he played some quality time on a game and he looked incredible. Like that's the Trey Lance that I expected when he was drafted. So Tyson Bagent serves neither one of these roles. And that bothers
Okay,
me.
but also, but but also he plays his role well enough to where if we need to see him, sorry guys, if we need to see him for, I just let one out there. If we need to see him for a game, we can feel confident enough that if he can make a couple of those passes like he made to Dante Pettis, then we can survive if the defense steps up and if the
I'm
run
going to tell
game
you this
plays.
right now.
But
I don't feel confident that Tyson Bagent will beat a good football team at all. He beat the Panthers last year,
we
and this
shouldn't. But the
Deontay
point has
Foreman.
always been you shouldn't feel confident about
Yeah,
that. You shouldn't
I,
because it's your backup.
I,
It's not your
yeah,
starter.
and I don't.
That's the point, man.
And the thing for me is not even like the because he made some passes and some tight gaps there, right? Like he
yeah.
passed the ball well.
One down
Receivers
the
didn't even
seam that was
like
beautiful. Yeah.
Pettis didn't even have that much separation on that play. The problem for me with this preseason stuff is like he's not getting rushed by quality players. He has no pressure. Caleb Williams would go out there and do twice what that guy did against that defensive line that we watched.
Oh, we just saw Caleb Williams go three and outs in a row against the second team defense. So I mean, situation matters, right? And perspective matters in these things. It is a preseason game, and we're only doing this to just give you a little shit because of how
No, of
hard you went
course.
against them. And he
No.
played pretty damn well in this game.
Play
Two
decent, man.
touchdowns, 7 of 8.
And
You
he'll
know that.
probably play like
He,
3 quarters next week, and he'll
and
probably break your heart.
last week you told me Ryan Tannehill was signed. Why do I keep bringing up Ryan Tannehill? That's not correct. He was not signed. He's
Who
still
told you
out there.
Ryan? I don't know anything about Ryan Tannehill.
You said I don't know why you keep bringing up Ryan Tannehill. He's already signed. You said that's what you said to me. But I'm just saying, like I think Ryan
I was
Tannehill is
probably thinking
obviously
Mariota because I don't know Ryan Tannehill. I agree, man. If you're about to say what I think you're
Mariota
about to say.
is in Washington. Yeah,
No, let's talk about Ryan Tannehill. What are you going to say?
I'm just saying that I agree with you that there are potential better options out there. But as people have mentioned, like a Jacoby Brissett is going to cost you 6.5 million guaranteed. That's what the Patriots are paying him. How much is a Ryan Tannehill going to cost you? You can only spend so much money. So how do we make that work? We got to feel a little bit of confidence in our backup, especially given the way he's performed in my mind. And I've been the biggest hater of Bagent, man. I have. But
Do you
he's
guys want to hear
performed well
something
enough to where I
frightening?
can have confidence as my backup. I can be okay with that.
You guys want to hear
Yeah, I'm
something
all right.
scary? You know when the last time a quarterback played all started every game of a season for the Bears?
Oh, so was that Jay Cutler in like 15?
2009.
Oh,
Read that today. So the likelihood is that Tyson Bagent will play a football game or two, and
yeah,
probably against a better squad than the Panthers last year.
but we haven't
I
had
don't like it. I don't like it.
Caleb
Hey,
Williams. I think
I
is smart
respect
enough to stay on the field, boss. I
I
really do.
respect your opinion, man. I really do. But man, listen, I'm on this Bajan train, man. As a backup, I'm with him, man. I think because
Going off the
I
rails
see,
on the
I
Patriot
see so
train.
much. I see some difference. I see some different, man. From him last year until now, he looks a lot more confident now than he did last year, man.
Confident was the one thing I thought always had. It's the ability
Well,
to throw a football that concerns me. I mean,
Guys,
Nathan Peterman came in and threw a Hail Mary for this guy, man.
we're
cause
gonna
that's
last
probably
week
all
we
Nathan Peterman could do.
yeah, and I don't want no
And not
but
even that.
I would much rather see Bajent than Peterman, no doubt. Well, I think what it comes down to is we gotta feel confident enough in Bajent to step into that role if that's what's necessary. We hope we never see him, like we said before. Moving on to quarterbacks across the league, just before we get out of here, um, we're we're seeing that Jaden Daniels was announced. I mean, it was a foregone conclusion, but Jaden Daniels was announced as the number one quarterback.
Mhm.
The Patriots still haven't announced. Bo Nix is going to be announced as the number one quarterback for the Broncos. That's
Should
clear
be.
as day.
Yeah.
He will be. I don't think that's up for debate. I think Peyton drafted him, 12th overall for that reason to have him be a starter, and the options behind him aren't very good. God, my nose is so messed up. Guys, this COVID is killing me. I can't go for 3 hours today. So, I mean, I just kind of wanted to have a conversation around that. We've seen Jaden Daniels perform really well in the preseason. We've seen Bo Nix perform really well in the preseason, and we've seen Caleb perform really well in the preseason.
JJ McCarthy too.
JJ McCarthy is done for the year, though, so he's not really a part of this conversation. And Drake May could potentially start for this Patriots team, at some point. I don't think he's going to start the season, but who knows? So who do you guys? I mean, this could be a biased question. We're in Chicago. Caleb's the number one overall pick. He's like the best quarterback in Bears history in my mind. So, but like, do you guys see one of those quarterbacks potentially having a better rookie season than Caleb? That's awesome, Bearsky.
No,
No?
no. And I think Jaden Daniels is a pretty good quarterback, but I don't think he's going to be in he's not going to be in a position to have a better season than us because I think he lacks the weapons. And I think also
Got some pretty solid weapons, Darius.
he's not a better
Terry McLaurin and Jahan Dotson are solid, and I think Ben Sanat, the backup, he's the backup tight end right now to Zach Ertz. But that
well,
guy's
I'm just comparing them to what we got.
yeah, it's
You know,
it's not as good, I would
and
say, but they're pretty
and
solid. They're
as
pretty
far
solid.
as his processing and natural QB ability, I don't think he has that over Caleb. Now, as far as athleticism and making getting the ball out of his hand, making throws. The throwing part is probably on par with Caleb, but the processing is not. I can tell you that now.
Okay, for sure. Brandon, what do you think?
Do I think a quarterback is a better rookie season? No. I think Bo Nix gets off to the best start of the year.
Ooh.
And he's on a bad team, but I say that because he plays for a good coach who's going to put him in situations in which he'll succeed. But also, the guy's played like 48 games in college, man. I mean, I don't know if a player coming out of college played as much football as Bo Nix.
30 years old, basically, yeah.
This guy started like 6 seasons in college football.
Right.
So I think, it doesn't surprise me he's playing the way he is right now. And he is, you're right, Destiny's the starter. But it wouldn't surprise me if for the first couple of weeks of the season, he made the least amount of mistakes.
That pairing with Sean Payton is very intriguing. It has been since draft day.
Well, Cortland Sutton's a good player, man.
No doubt about
Right.
it. No doubt about it. Now,
Mims is a solid player.
Mims looks like he's going to be good too. Yeah.
You guys keep
they got
calling.
a good running game over there too.
You guys keep calling Sean Payton's name. Nah, I think he's kind of. I think the polish and the gleam is kind of dim on his name as far as an offensive mind.
Well, that's what Bo Nix is for, man. He
But
is tying the rest. He is tying it.
I
to
don't
Bo
think
Nix.
Bo Nix is very good.
But if you look at Russell Wilson's season with Sean Payton, he actually played pretty well, man. I mean, they had to bench him because the money thing wasn't going to work out, right? You want to keep that guy healthy.
And also he wasn't playing within the offense like Sean Payton wanted to.
And you're going to
Bo
trade
Nix,
him.
like Michael's saying here, is perfect for that Sean Payton offense. He's going to be about timing. He's going to be about putting the ball in a spot. He's going to be about not making mistakes. I mean, we've seen lesser quarterbacks do more in the right kind of offense. I don't think it can be overlooked how much Sean Payton, creating an offense around this guy that he can work within. I mean, versus, if Justin Fields with a Getsy, like if you're throwing him with some, some guy that doesn't have a track record for putting out good offenses, then I would be feeling differently. If Bo Nix went to the Raiders, I would think Bo Nix was on a path for failure. But I think being with Sean Payton and Payton making it clear that that's his project, that's going to make a huge difference in Bo Nix's success rate. I don't think it's going to be better than Caleb. I don't think that he's a better player than Caleb. That's
No,
not
like I
that's not
said,
even really the debate, right?
season wise, I don't think so. I think you'll see Knicks. Knicks will be the first guy who kind of wraps his head around not making mistakes and just doing what the coach is going to put him, like you said, Dustin. Peyton's going to put him in a situation where he's not going to ask him to do more than he can. We know that. That's just what he
Yeah.
does.
Work within the system and just not make mistakes. Make a big play once a game.
And that's Darius. That's the beauty of having Caleb Williams is like you can afford to put that guy in situations where he can create things for you. Knicks won't do that.
This is true.
Yes.
I don't think Bo Nix is better than his dad.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
you'd have to play for sure. Like you'd have to prove that.
I think Jaden Daniels, being that he's a dual threat, being that he's in a Cliff Kingsbury offense that we've seen, players put up numbers in, whether it's in college or the pros. Kyler Murray put up good numbers in that Cliff Kingsbury offense. They're going to utilize his run game. They're going to utilize his feet. And they have pretty solid weapons, honestly, between Eckler and Brian Robinson and then those two receivers on the outside and Zach Ertz and Ben Sinnott. Like, it's going to be interesting to see Jaden Daniels. What's really cool is we're going to get to see Caleb go up against Jaden Daniels in this season. That's going to be a lot of fun. I think that's going to be a treat for us as Bears fans. I don't think any of them have a better season rookie season than Caleb.
No, he's rookie.
Yeah, I think that's his to lose. But Jaden, if there's one person I think that can compete for that, it's Jaden Daniels, especially that he's going to be given the keys to that offense, guys.
I don't know. I don't know how common it is, but if an offensive lineman could win Rookie of the Year, I think Joe Alt's going to have that kind of impact immediately.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But Joe Alt's going to have a. Listen, guys,
that guy's a monster.
We're gonna call it a night, man. I can't breathe out of my nose. It's been a long one here already. I hope that everybody watching had a good time. We appreciate everybody's input, from Scrolls to AC Adam to Michael to John to Sean Lugo was in here. Cliff Bearski.
Thanks, guys.
Bearski, really appreciate the footage on Bajent, so we can see that and see that Bajent was a little better than we were giving him credit for on this show last week. So I mean, I just want to say, I thought the Bears, acquitted themselves well in this past game. And towards the end of that game, the end of that half, they really, the offense turned it around. We're happy to see that. Hopefully nobody gets injured here. Hopefully nobody, right? We just stay healthy and finish this out. We got Hard Knocks tomorrow, guys. So everybody's going to tune in for that. What's that?
Can't wait.
Can't wait, no doubt. Wednesday, we got another show for you guys. CSP will be here. Friday, Thursday. Thursday, you'll be on, Darius, with Pinky and Q and Leroy. All right.
Shout out to those guys, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks to everybody who joined. Thanks to all our sponsors, Elite Icons, Framing and Memorabilia, Underdog Fantasy, all the ones we already mentioned already. Guys, anything you want to close out with?
No, man. No, other than Tyson Bagent sucks. Just kidding. No, I got nothing, man. It was a good time as always, guys.
Yeah. Good time, guys. Darius, you have a great night, man.
I'm good, man. Shout out to CSP family, man.
Brandon Tracks.
Get well soon, Dustin.
I appreciate it, boss. I appreciate y'all bearing with me. I can't breathe through my damn nose. But thanks so much for being here, everybody. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you guys on Wednesday. Bear it out.
Bear down.
Bear down, Shot Town.